Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Unprecedented Podcast. Here, we challenge the status quo and explore the unfiltered truths from the shadows of societies. We're not afraid to tackle what's often left unsaid. Each episode, we bring you thought-provoking conversations, revealing stories and expert insights that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Join us as we shine a light on the unseen. Join us as we shine a light on the unheard and the unimaginable, with special guests and unique perspectives. We dive deep into the topics that others shy away from. Here, we challenge the status quo. So, if you're ready to step into the conversation that everyone else is avoiding, hit subscribe and join us on this journey through the unprecedented.
Let's talk about it.
Pablo here with you today, and I'm so happy to be bringing you another episode of Unprecedented, the podcast. And you will excuse me today. I have a very, very sensitive topic today, and I'm pretty sure this topic will touch most of us. Again, if it doesn't bring some type of emotion to you, good, bad, or indifferent, then you might want to check your pulse because you might be dead, because it's a topic that has galvanized the country, that has motivated people to speak out and speak up about the immigration laws, about the failed immigration policies from the Biden and Harris administration, and not just failed policies, but Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's handling of the border situation. Actually, it's criminal. It's criminal, and I'll explain to you why it's criminal. And I don't believe this is just my opinion. This is not just another person ranting and angry. That's not what it is. I believe that this topic is gonna touch a lot of you, and a lot of you are gonna identify with it. What I like to talk about today, and this is gonna be the episode for today because it is just so sensitive to my heart. And it touches me deeply as a father of females, as a grandfather of females. It just touched me profoundly. And one thing that comes to mind when I bring up this subject and I think about this subject is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did not say this name. They will not say this name. And ask yourselves, as Americans, why they never brought this name up when this is so profound, when this touched a family, a community, a nation. Yet Joe Biden, Kamala Harris did not bring it up. Here it goes. The death of a 22-year-old woman who was murdered by José Ibarra, an undocumented immigrant, on February 22nd, 2024. And this beautiful young lady happens to be called Laken Riley. I want everybody to remember that name, Laken Riley, who was killed by a 22-year-old undocumented illegal alien, was kind of like not talked about at all. And if it was way too briefly. If they ever mention her name at all, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, or any of the Democratic Party, it was way too briefly, right? Because this right here was a direct cause of the mishandling by the Biden administration of the border. How they flooded this nation with dangerous illegal aliens to push their agenda and their causes, to force feed us all that nonsense and all that crap, right? Meanwhile, mishandling the situation at the border so badly that this wonderful young lady with a huge, promising future got killed as a direct cause of their mishandling of the situation, of them looking the other way and not listening to the American public when the American public explicitly yelled, screamed at the top of our voices Please fix it. Please don't do it. Please, we're afraid. Please, there's gonna be repercussions. And guess who pays for the repercussions of the mistakes that the Joe Biden and the Kamala Harris administration perpetrated? We did. Laken Riley did. Let me go on to read. And so just recently, the House passed an amended version of the Laken Riley Act on Wednesday on a vote of 263 to 156. Can you imagine? Just think for a minute, the representatives who voted against this amendment. The Laken Riley Act. Like, how do these people sleep at night when they have failed the American public so immensely? And then when there's a law brought up with this beautiful young lady's name, Laken Riley, they vote against it. Even after being amended, they voted against it. And then they went home and slept soundly because it wasn't their child who got killed by this illegal alien, right? Let's be honest. They went home, they voted against this bill, went home and slept soundly because it wasn't their children. It wasn't their daughter. It wasn't their granddaughter. It wasn't their mother, their sister, their wife. So they voted against it. Democrats. And so this bill was passed on Wednesday, and all it's waiting for is Donald Trump's signature, which I am sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he's going to sign. Because he has grandchildren, he has a wife, a daughter, so on and so forth, right? And he wants to protect them as well as the other young ladies in this country. And so the bill, which was expected to pass 2 weeks after it initially passed, will now go to Trump's desk and symbolically will become the first measure he signs into law of his second administration.
We are deeply honored to be joined today by Laken's parents, Allison and John, and her sister, Lauren. Thank you very much. So sorry. We were together right after that happened, and it's a tremendous tribute to your daughter, what's taking place today. That's all I can say, but so sad we have to be doing it at all. Thank you very much for being here. To Laken's family, we will keep Laken's memory alive in our hearts forever, everyone's hearts. With today's action, her name will also live forever in the laws of our country, and this is a very important law. This is something that has brought Democrats and Republicans together. That's not easy to do. Laken did it. Laken did it. America will never, ever forget Laken Hope Riley. The vicious criminal who murdered Precious Laken was an illegal alien member of the barbaric Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. He trespassed across our southern border in 2022 and was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the cruel policies of the last administration, instead of being deported as he should have been, he was released into the United States, as were millions of other people, many of them very dangerous people. And you see what we're doing, we're getting the hell out of here. He was soon arrested again in New York City on charges of endangering a child, but because of New York City's deadly sanctuary policies, as we have in California and many other places, which we're going to end them, he was released again to reoffend. The Biden administration then provided this illegal alien criminal with a free taxpayer-funded flight from New York to Georgia, where he was arrested yet again, constantly, this time for stealing from a Walmart along with his gang member brother, who was a bad one. Only after being released a third time by the U.S. law enforcement did this cold-blooded criminal go out in that fateful morning hunting for women on whom to prey. That's what he did. He hunted. It was like a hunter. We're going to show him who the hunter is. This horrific atrocity should never have been allowed to happen. And as president, I'm fighting every single day to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. We don't want this to happen. And under the law, thank you. Under the law I'm signing today, the Department of Homeland Security will be required to detain all illegal aliens who have been arrested for theft, burglary, larceny, shoplifting, assaulting a police officer, murder, or any crime that results in death or serious injury. In addition, for the first time ever, this act gives state governments the ability to sue the federal government for immediate injunctive relief if any future administration ever again refuses to enforce the immigration laws of the United States, like happened for 4 long years.
Before I continue, is that this episode is dedicated, absolutely dedicated, to the memory and life of Laken Riley. My thoughts, my heart, my prayers are with their family, right? And I'm not trying to dredge up the past. I'm not trying to cause pain to the family. So please, forgive me if this does bring up, and I'm sure it will. I want to say I'm sorry in advance that it's going to bring up the memories, it's going to bring up the pain and stir all that stuff up. But the reason I am doing this is not for ratings, it's not for likes, it's not for fans, it's not for followers. It is because I'll give you a little bit of history about myself. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, 1970. A Puerto Rican whose grandparents made the trip to America, landed in New York, and we made a life. Childhood was beautiful. Childhood was beautiful. My community, to this day, my community is like one of the best memories I have is my community, my friends, my school, summers playing stickball, tag. We had this bond that was like, there's nothing that I can compare it to the bond that we had as a community growing up. And slowly but surely, that life, those memories, that neighborhood, that community has deteriorated, like where I go back every chance I get. In fact, I just came back from spending some time with some childhood friends who still live in the neighborhood, still live in Brooklyn, New York. And we reminisce into the wee hours of the night about the beautiful childhood that we had growing up in that area of these great United States, right? Slowly but surely, that neighborhood, that community, the bonds deteriorated. And here's what I want to say when I bring all that up is that all my life, I was taught, instructed, you may say brainwashed into believing that the Democratic Party was the party of the people and for the people. At home, by the grown-ups, in school, by teachers and the administration of the New York Board of Education. And it stirs up in me a little bit of anger that for so many years I was brainwashed and led to believe that the Democratic Party was the party of the people for the people, and that it had the people's best interest in mind at all times. It took me so many years of being lied to, bamboozled, brainwashed to realize that it was such a lie, that it is the Democratic Party who has systemically led to the deterioration of America, of American values, of American beliefs. And it has come full circle for them. And I praise God because I am a God-fearing man. Fundamentals that this country was built upon. Christian, God-fearing fundamentals that were stripped away little by the Democrats and their narrative and their causes and their smoke and mirrors and them just like leading the American people astray for so long. And so just recently I woke up and snapped out of the lie and was able to take a good look at what that party stood for. And let me tell you, America, that party stands for everything that we've ever fought against, anything that I've ever believed in, all the good moral values that we were brought up. That party has little by little, inch by inch, law by law, initiative by initiative, stripped away from us. And so moving forward, like, I am just so thankful that we're finally getting our country back, that we're finally gonna have the opportunity to make it right. And now, I know there's no magic pill. I know there's no magic wand. Nobody's gonna say abracadabra and we're gonna go back to the wonderful 70s, 60s, 80s. No, I know that. But here's what I do hope and pray for, is that we can at least be able to look ourselves in the mirror as Americans and know that we are on the right side of history. Not just for us, because if you look at me, you can see the gray in my hair and my beard and mustache, and you know that I've lived a good life. I have lived a good life. I've made mistakes, learned from those mistakes, and went through the good, the bad, the ugly of what it is to grow up, to live a life and live it well and laugh along the way and enjoy myself to the fullest. But see, I'm looking back at those next generations. I have grandkids now. Can I look myself in the mirror and say to myself, I'm really leaving this earth better than I found it? That I'm leaving this country better for my grandchildren who are coming up? That's what's important to me right now. And I want to really be able to sleep well at night, knowing that I made my effort, that my voice was heard, that I spoke up, that I didn't sit by the sidelines and let catastrophe after catastrophe take place and not say nothing. And I believe it was Martin Luther King that said that we are complicit if we remain silent. Don't quote me verbatim, because I'm sure that's not the way he said it, but it's what he meant. That we are complicit by silence. That those who say that's not my business are just as bad as the perpetrator who's committing the crime, who's committing the rape, who's committing the murder, who's allowing these politicians to lead us to a brink of no return. That's what I care about, and that's what helps me sleep at night.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Unprecedented Podcast. Here, we challenge the status quo and explore the unfiltered truths from the shadows of societies. We're not afraid to tackle what's often left unsaid. Each episode, we bring you thought-provoking conversations, revealing stories and expert insights that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Join us as we shine a light on the unseen, Join us as we shine a light on the unheard and the unimaginable, with special guests and unique perspectives. We dive deep into the topics that others shy away from. Here, we challenge the status quo. So, if you're ready to step into the conversation that everyone else is avoiding, hit subscribe and join us on this journey through the unprecedented.
Let's talk about it.